You've beaten Elden Ring, maybe multiple times. You've gotten those platinum trophies, found every secret, min-maxed your builds, and now you're empty inside because nothing else hits quite like Elden Ring does. Here's the thing. There are 20 other Souls-like games out there that'll fill that void. Games with that same punishing difficulty, that same rush when you finally defeat a boss that's been destroying you, that same just one more run addiction. We're talking hidden gems, underrated masterpieces, and games that might actually be harder than Elden Ring. Some are dark fantasy, some are sci-fi, some are straight up bonkers, but all of them scratch that Souls-like itch in different ways. If you're an Elden Ring addict looking for your next fix, you need to watch this, because I guarantee at least 5 of these games are going to become your new obsession. Let's find your next challenge. Feels like Elden Ring with its brutal melee combat and Souls-like exploration, only this one is set in an anime-inspired apocalyptic sci-fi world. You're surviving in a dystopian future with Souls-like challenge. The combat is brutal and responsive. Boss encounters test skill and determination. The world blends sci-fi with anime aesthetics beautifully. Character progression is rewarding. The story explores themes of humanity and technology. Exploration is constantly rewarding. This 2025 release proves innovation works. Absolutely phenomenal for Elden Ring fans seeking fresh settings. Easily one of the most intriguing new IPs announced for 2026, offering a fresh universe with legendary direction and a more intricate balance between PvE and PvP interactions than Elden Ring or Night Rain ever achieved. You're entering a completely new universe with legendary direction. The world design promises innovation. Combat systems blend PvE and PvP seamlessly. Character progression sounds phenomenal. The story explores fresh themes. The artistic vision is visibly ambitious. This 2026 release is highly anticipated, essential for Elden Ring addicts seeking the next evolution of Souls-likes. The spiritual predecessor to Dark Souls, beautifully remastered with phenomenal visuals. You're experiencing the game that started Souls-like genre in stunning remake. The PS5 graphics are absolutely breathtaking. The combat is tight and punishing. Boss fights are legendary and memorable. The world design is intricate. The atmosphere captures gothic horror perfectly. The story unfolds cryptically. Character progression feels rewarding. This remake proves FromSoftware's pedigree. Essential foundational experience for Elden Ring addicts seeking the genre's origins. Inspired open-world design with unique boss-climbing combat and unguided exploration. You're a warrior journeying across vast landscapes seeking colossi to defeat. Each colossus is a phenomenal boss encounter, requiring creative approaches. The world is gorgeous and interconnected. Exploration is genuinely rewarding. The story is emotionally resonant. Combat requires skill and timing. The atmosphere captures isolated beauty. This game influenced Elden Ring's design philosophy deeply. Essential experience showing how innovation shapes genre evolution. A Chinese historical fantasy Souls-like with fluid combat and beautiful environments steeped in Asian mythology. You're experiencing Three Kingdoms-era China transformed through fantasy lens. The combat is fast-paced and responsive. Boss fights incorporate mythological creatures majestically. The world is gorgeous, capturing Asian aesthetics. Character progression feels rewarding. The story explores honor and duty. Co-op gameplay enhances the experience. The difficulty scales appropriately. This Team Ninja Souls-like is absolutely phenomenal, perfect for Elden Ring fans wanting Asian-inspired alternatives.
a cartoonish, brightly colored game with deceptively deep mechanics, following Krill the hermit crab who is stripped of his shell and forced to use trash as weapons. Beneath the ocean's colorful surface lies a challenging Souls-like focused on dodge and parry timing. You're an adorable crab exploring an underwater world. The art style is charming, yet the challenge is brutal. Combat requires precise timing and positioning. Boss fights are phenomenal and memorable. The world design is beautiful and interconnected. The story is wholesome yet challenging. This proves Souls-likes don't need grim, dark aesthetics. Absolutely phenomenal indie gem.
Lords of the Fallen feels like an alternative to the Dark Souls series, and like Elden Ring, features a dark fantasy world with creepy monsters and a narrative that ends in multiple different ways. You're navigating a grim medieval world with Souls-like challenge. The combat system is engaging with multiple weapon options. Boss encounters are memorable and challenging. The interconnected world rewards exploration. Level design encourages careful navigation. Story branches based on choices matter. The atmosphere is oppressive and beautifully crafted. This 2023 gem deserves recognition from Elden Ring fans seeking alternatives.
Pushes the series forward by introducing two combat styles, allowing you to switch between a stealthy ninja and a deadly samurai when the situation demands it. The larger map brings it more in line with something like Elden Ring, while the gameplay and skills keep it distinctive enough to offer something new. You're exploring a vast open-world map inspired by Japanese mythology. The dual combat styles create tactical depth. Loot progression is addictive and rewarding. Boss fights demand skill and adaptation. The world interconnects beautifully. This 2026 sequel builds on Nioh 2's foundation magnificently, essential for Elden Ring addicts. A Pinocchio Souls-like set in a Belle Epoque city with challenging combat, and a unique Victorian-era aesthetic inspired by the classic fairy tale. You're playing as Pinocchio, but transformed into something darker. The world is gorgeous, capturing Belle Epoque Italy beautifully. Combat is challenging with multiple weapon options. Boss fights are memorable, testing skill and strategy. The story twists expectations, exploring themes of truth and lies. Character interactions shape narrative outcomes. The art direction is absolutely stunning. This indie Souls-like proves creative vision matters. Absolutely phenomenal for Elden Ring fans. Much like Elden Ring, Remnant 2 lets players explore diverse landscapes, battle hordes of enemies, level up their stats, and collect powerful new gear. The twist, this time the action comes with guns. You're a survivor exploring multiple worlds with procedurally generated elements. Gunplay feels satisfying and responsive. Co-op gameplay is incredible with friends. Boss encounters are creative and memorable. Loot progression keeps you engaged. Character builds matter with deep customization. The world building explores post-apocalyptic mysteries. This Souls-like with guns proves innovation works. Perfect for Elden Ring fans wanting something different. Wuchang completely won players over with its unique take on the Souls-like formula. The Madness system adds an engaging layer of strategy, forcing you to balance risk and reward, while the ambitious skill tree allows for deep character customization. The world design is easily one of the most intricately interconnected worlds explored since the original Dark Souls. You're navigating a plague-ridden world with phenomenal level design. The combat system is tight and responsive. Boss fights are memorable challenges. The interconnected world rewards exploration. The story is engaging, exploring themes of madness. The art direction is stunning. This 2025 gem deserves massive attention from Elden Ring fans. Game Science really elevated their game with Black Myth Wukong, a beautifully rendered dive into Chinese mythology that loosely adapts Journey to the West. Elden Ring fans should appreciate its Souls-like aspects and the fantastic combat system. You're playing as Sun Wukong, experiencing an epic journey inspired by classic literature. The combat is visceral and satisfying with phenomenal boss fights. The world is gorgeous, capturing Chinese mythology beautifully. Character progression feels rewarding. The story respects the source material while creating something fresh. The boss encounters demand skill and pattern recognition. This indie Souls-like proves smaller teams can compete with AAA polish. Absolutely phenomenal. Bloodborne's lore is almost hard to describe, both because of how dense it is and due to how grotesque and horrifying it quickly becomes. A simple hunt through the cursed city of Yharnam gradually reveals a far deeper story about forbidden knowledge, cosmic entities, and humanity's obsession with transcendence. You're a hunter navigating Gothic streets, fighting beasts with incredible design. The trick weapons are creative, switching between forms. The atmosphere is oppressive and hauntingly beautiful. The boss fights are legendary with memorable designs. The story unfolds through environmental clues and NPC interactions. This exclusive masterpiece defined the genre. If you haven't experienced Bloodborne, you're missing a masterpiece. Instead of chipping down health bars until the enemy keels over, you overwhelm their posture bar with strikes and perfect parries until an opening appears, and then finish with a death blow. Sekiro's defining strength is its stellar combat system based on a posture mechanic. Breaking posture requires a balance of relentless attack, timely parries, and smart dodges followed by counter-strikes. You're Wolf, a shinobi in late 1500s Japan. The constant push and pull nature of each fight is often akin to a rhythmic dance, and surmounting bosses with a final visceral death blow results in truly satisfying rushes of euphoria upon victory. Stealth is viable, allowing assassination approaches. The prosthetic arm upgrades expand combat. This FromSoftware masterpiece is absolutely phenomenal. Dark Souls 3 stands as a finely honed, emotionally resonant farewell to the Dark Souls saga, combining punishing difficulty, cryptic lore, and newly refined mechanics that reward players who embrace the challenge and immerse themselves in its foreboding world. Dark Souls 3 probably has the best collection of bosses in the entire series. Despite being the fifth entry in its lineage, there's no sign of creativity being stifled. The world interconnects through hidden shortcuts, rewarding exploration. You're traveling across a wide variety of interconnected locations, searching for a way to survive the coming apocalypse. The Soul of Cinder final boss mashes together multiple combat styles as a nod to previous Dark Souls heroes, concluding the main campaign in spectacular fashion. The DLC adds phenomenal content like Sister Freed. If you loved Elden Ring's predecessor lineage, this is absolutely essential.